Well, it sucks to feel scared, anxious, nervous, like a pit in your stomach, a void in your soul. This is fear. Fear has some value. As an example, when you meet someone that may be dangerous, you may have a intuition, a fear that, you know what, don't be around this person. When you're in a bad neighborhood, this fear may say, you know what, get out of Dodge as soon as you can. But where fear is bad is when you have to do something new or you just have to do something for the overall well being of your life. You have to do something, it's scary. And this fear could be paralyzing and keep you in the same spot, in the same job, the same state, the same house, the same relationship all your life because the fear that I feel right now, I'm scared right now. I'm a 41-year-old man. I've had many new jobs. I've tried many things that scared me. I've traveled up and down the East Coast several times. But I feel scared right now leaving New Jersey, going down to Florida, leaving my mom, and it's still scary. I want to expose that fear and let you know that it's okay. It's okay to be a confident person and still feel scared and weak. And try to do it anyway. Twister, great to see you. Thank you for your positive energy and thank you for being a great person in my life. Thank you. Good people make fear a little bit easier to deal with. Sometimes when I see bad people, and you always see some bad people, whether in person or online, it makes you sad that there are people like that in this world. But you also meet some people that are the salt of this earth that give you encouragement that you're not alone. That's why it's important to have boundaries so that you can be the person that God meant you to be. Because if you don't have boundaries, you'll give up on everyone and everything in this world and you'll just wait for death to call you home. Um, so that's important. Let me take a coffee break because I'm still on the road. I'm just in the beginning. My schedule will be off for a couple days, but I still, when you're traveling, keep a structured routine. Wake up at the same time, do the same things as best you can when you're on the road. And, you know, that's all you can do. It's scary being on the road. I mean, everything is different, even though the road you've traveled this road many times, um, there's a fear. I mean, I think about so many things. I mean, I'll talk about the specific situation with leaving New Jersey and leaving my mom in tomorrow morning's video. But in just a the grand scheme of things with regards to this topic, I think about a job that I took that I was scared to take and how paralyzing it was emotionally. And it makes me empathize with those who just never move forward in life. And I think about God giving me this extra grace and me pushing myself sometimes allows me to go to another level. And I think about all the people that want to, they're not evil, but they just can't go to the place they need to go to get over this fear. And I hope sometimes by me sharing my videos, it helps them. I know sometimes it hurts them because I know sometimes they feel it's attacking them, but I have to share, and I hope that the people looking for self-improvement, they're able to take the seed for what it's worth. And I just want to share with you that staying in the same spot, in the same relationship, in the same house, while comfortable and safe, it's not going to bring you long-term joy, peace, or happiness. I think about the quote. There's a quote that says, "A ship in harbor is safe, but that is not what the ship was designed to do." A ship was meant to take sail. A human was meant to leave their parents' house if they can, if they have a level of ability. A human is meant to do something with their life, not just stay in the safety net all the time. We need safety. We need security. Every day we shouldn't be scared. Every day we shouldn't push the limits. But there's periods in life where to overcome this fear, it's scary, okay? And that's it. Let me take a coffee break. Again, shout out to Twister. Thank you for your love, brother. I really appreciate you tonight because I feel scared. So the positive vibes are helping me. Congrats on being back on the way to Florida. Well, I love Florida. You also know I love my mom. And you know that it's not easy for the human to adapt. Um, I have the gift to adapt. I work on it. It's not easy. Especially, the temperatures right now are not unbearable. So it's comfortable enough to stay, but it's time. When you try to stay past the time that you're meant to leave, things start to go wrong. I think about when I was in the strip club. Great to see you, early riser. I think about when I was in my early 20s and I was getting to my mid 20s. It was like time to get out of the strip club. But I kept going back to familiar places. Sometimes in life, we're scared to leave what we know and people that are used to us and things that we're used to. We're scared. But I knew that I was not supposed to be like, or hanging around a strip club or being certain things anymore. Not because I was scared, but it's time. It was over. But taking the next step in life is scary. And that's why I said, like, what did I do? I surrounded myself with people in church. I got more involved in church. Why? Because like I said, when you're vulnerable, when you're scared, you need a support system. Obviously, you shouldn't stay in the church your entire life if you build yourself up. The whole point of church is to build you up to go out. Okay? The whole point of school is to build you up to go out. Like I say, some people get stuck in college and they try to get all these degrees and they got no work experience. The whole point of having loving parents is to go out into the world and make a mark. These are not easy things. Okay? I'm not minimizing the pain. I have empathy. I understand what life is. I feel it right now, guys. I feel this void in my soul. I feel this terror that I have to overcome. Okay, and I've already done this. I've already documented on YouTube. I've already traveled up and down the East Coast during the pandemic. It's still scary. That's what I want to tell you tonight as a word of encouragement for you. You say, well, if it's still scary, how is that a word of encouragement? So that you know it's part of the process. And suffering another winter in somewhere where you're not called to be, it's not good. Tony, I love you. Early riser, I love you. I'm going to get these comments. Thank you. All the positive energy I can get tonight, leave a comment. Thank you. I'm going to take it. I want to tell you that I think about one of my great viewers, Gail. I know, one of my viewers, she used to watch. And I give her credit. She's elderly. She's a senior. And she had disabled, I think, or something. But she traveled all the way down to Florida by herself. So she has the ability, and she overcame that fear. And she's now everyone at different ages and different limitations. But I like I always tell you guys and girls, I don't want you to make reckless decisions because it doesn't mean you should always do something. But I want to tell you, a lot of you, okay, sell yourself short. Okay, you have ability. Driver's license is a certification. That doesn't mean, my mom has a driver's license. I caution her on when she should drive now. Okay, she's elderly. Okay, so I'm not saying that gives you the green light to go do reckless things, but I want to encourage you. Okay, that I've seen people that allow this fear to paralyze them, but I want them to pull strength from when they overcame it. When my mom gets scared sometimes of doing things, I said, Mom, I remember how scared you were to get a divorce. I remember how scared you were to take on a better job. And I remember you overcoming it. And she overcame it. Okay, she went from working in a supermarket to working as a secretary. She went from being used to being married and having that emotional support to, and I think she would have stayed in a relationship if it wasn't negatively affecting the kids so much. Not because it was healthy, but because there's some people, they can't get out of a relationship, even if there's not kids, because they just don't have the strength. They know they're not supposed to be there anymore. They're scared of trying something new. And that's the message tonight. That I empathize, but you have to do. If you stay in that relationship too long, there's not a place for you anymore. It's different. Okay. And that's what I want to share. Thank you, Adam. Thank you, everyone who's giving me positive vibes. I love you. Okay, I appreciate you. Even the negative people I know, remember, even the trolls, they have some level of love for me because no one would come back in here. And I know that they've got their own issues. I don't excuse it. But look, tonight we're going to focus on what we need to focus on, which is the word of the Lord, then this is why I tell you need faith. Okay. Because there's been times in my life where I was not skilled in a job, where I was not confident and I was vulnerable and I leaned on my faith. Okay. And now I have knowledge in a lot of things. I'm not super, everyone can be corrected. And I've been through things, so I have more confidence, okay, more experience. But I don't forget when I was scared and I asked God to give me the strength, I still did the work. I didn't just depend on faith like a religious nut job. But I want to testify that there's been certain jobs I was on. I think of one, I was working at this building. I was an apprentice, and we probably weren't supposed to do it, but we were cutting into this live electrical uh, switchboard. Okay, and we had to work on it live because it was a hospital and they couldn't shut it off, even though they were supposed to shut it off now that I gotten older. But we did it, and we had to drill like this hole saw into the top of the thing. And the guy working with me, who he was a drunk, but he was sober when he needed to be sober, but his hands would shake. He was going to catch when you drill like with a hole saw in metal, there's like this little, the metal piece that you drill out, it drops. So he had a cardboard box underneath me. I was drilling it. And I had to drill in my hand because he had shaky hands. I had to drill it. So I was like, man, I'm scared. I looked at him and go, Sam, I'm scared too. Just do it. Let's do it. And that always taught me something. What did it teach me? One is work safely. Thank God nothing happened. Two is, if you just think the older person is not scared, they're scared too. Everyone's scared. Okay. I love you, Paula. Thank you, Paula. I love you. And I see you try to be positive. I see you in your videos. I see you try to be positive. I appreciate you. So, I want to share with you, again, that this is just part of the human experience. This is why you need good people around you. Not people who terrorize you. Not people who threaten you. Not people who abuse you. And you say, I know I don't need those people, but I'm scared to get away from them. It's a paralyzing thing. I've seen people stay in scary relationships because they're more scared about what's next. All I can tell you is you got to pray that God gives you the strength to do what you need to do. This is where you need faith in life, guys. Okay? Because guys, you guys know now, if you watch long enough my videos, I'm not super religious without having practical sense. And I support, if you're an atheist, I got a free will for everyone. But I want to tell you, there's no mathematical equation in certain situations in life. You just need faith over fear. That's the equation. There's no book knowledge you can get in college, or you can get. There's something in you that you have to tap into to overcome this scary, fearful, voidful thing that you can't fully understand how you can overcome it. This is faith, okay? Like in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, trust in the Lord, depend not on your own understanding. I remember this scripture helped me. There's part of life, you shouldn't be over religious, okay? And there's many religions, there's many philosophies, but you need some faith, guys and girls. Because I don't know, whatever you're going to deal with in life, and everyone's got to deal with something. The older you get, you're going to see everyone in this world, whether they're rich, poor, fat, or skinny, everyone is dealing with something. Never forget it. Is to overcome whatever it is you're facing at the time. You need some faith. You need some grace. And if you leave out that component, I'm not going to say you won't be able to figure it out, but I'm going to say your life is going to be harder. You're going to be more hurt. And I don't think you're going to get the full experience of the abundance of life. And to me, an abundant life is a divine life. Okay. This is my testimony tonight. I'm going to take a coffee break, guys. We're going to get to the comments. I just had to get that out. I want to thank all the positive people leaving comments. Thank you. Life on the road is a constant uproot. Okay. And while fun, while no attachments, this is part of it. You get comfortable in an area, and then to move out of that area is very scary. Okay. So, just remember that, but doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, but remember that. Let's take a Starbucks coffee break. Shout out to all my baristas. I got love for you. Thank you, everyone. All right, back to these live comments. Twister, thank you again. You've been positive since day one. It's a blessing to meet you in my life. However long we're connected, I very much thank you for your positive attitude. I believe in you. For me, I think about, and I want my older people to remember this, I think about what I was doing when I was 22. Now, the essence of a person kind of stays the same, and I never looked for trouble, but you're immature. And I think about Twister, where he's at 22, willing to work at Dunkin' Donuts, willing to work his way into engineering, willing to, he's got family issues. He's got a father. He's got a disabled sibling. Everyone's got issues. I want you to hear this. I don't care if you live long enough and if you're around enough people, you're gonna realize everyone's going through something. Whether it's a personality disorder, a person in their life, a money problem, a health problem, whatever. And that's what should give you some level of empathy. Now, again, you can't walk around like a softy all the time per se, because then everyone's takes in all these directions and you never do anything. So there is a balance of, you can't take on all the sorrow of the world. You can't let everyone just lead you. You got to be willing to cut some people off. You got to be willing to be a little firm but fair. And so, okay. Early riser. If I miss a comment, guys and girls, please type it again. Early riser. Thanks for sharing that. I got emotional and scared after I visited my mother for 3 or 4 days. My mom is in her mid-70s. Well, early riser, thank you for sharing. So me and you, see, we're in a very similar situation. And that's true. Now, in my experience, because I've done this already for a few years, the same exact scenario. I go visit my mom and I go back to Florida, and I've done it in a pandemic, before a pandemic. I always feel the same. So I'm able to pull from some of the strength of past experiences. And that's what I want you to remember when you start a new job, or you have to break up with someone, or you have to move on with your life. You have to pull from your past victories. Now, when you're young, you may not have those, and that's when you need faith even more, okay, because you may have never had a job. You may have never been through a serious breakup or divorce, so maybe your first one. This is where you need the Lord. Okay? Not in a religious way, okay, and whatever you want to believe, you believe. This is your life. But I want to tell you, this is what you need, that bridge to get you to the next promised land. You need that faith, that bridge, man. You don't go through the wilderness without faith, man. There's no way. Not in this, not now how I've seen it. It just doesn't work like that. So thank you, early riser. Tony, what's up, brother? Shout out to Canada, man. Love to you. I see a lot of RVs on the road. A lot of people are starting this migration path, and the Canadian border now, I believe, is fully open, I believe. And so a lot of people are on the road heading south. I've seen that. Tony says, Sam, yeah, I'm on early because I'm not sure where I'll get Wi-Fi when I'm on the road. So I knew I'd get good Wi-Fi here. So I said, well, let me do this. Seize the moment. The psychopaths are not up yet. That's true. Yeah, they're on a certain routine, but love to them tonight. We're going to spread love. Yeah, there's no thumbs down. Yeah, that's okay. Like I say, I'm thankful. I know there's more positive people than negative. I just got to deal with both. It's part of life. Adam, good early evening, Sam. Thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. He goes, he took 5 staples close to my mom's. He goes, took 5 staples to close my mom's wound up on the back of her head. She cut her head last night. She fell or something. I'm sorry. See, everyone's dealing with something. Adam's got 2 parents that have dementia. And he's got his own kids, his own life, so I'm sure he's got his own problems. That's not easy. Pray for the caretakers, pray for the seniors, pray for those with health problems. This is not easy. How do you get through that? One day at a time. That's my best advice. So one day at a time. I'm going to do a short video on that. What's my best advice? One day at a time. Paula, 1999. Paula, thank you so much. Thank you for being you too. I see you trying to fight to stay as positive as you can in this world, and I thank you. I thank you for hanging in there with me and keeping a sense of humor. And I know you're in the fight, and I appreciate you, and I thank you with all my heart. Heart emoji to you, Paula. Love and appreciation. And I tell you, when you're scared, take all the positive energy you can get. And I thank you. I thank you for being gracious, because I know you don't have to. I know everyone's got their own problems. I know it. I've lived through life. So thank you, Paula. Very gracious of you. Keep doing your thing, one day at a time. One day at a time. Shout out to everyone migrating, immigrants, people within the country, people outside the country. I think about that. I'll talk about it in my video tomorrow. And I believe Paula is from Scotland, I believe. So my grandparents came from Italy. I know several people that migrated, some from Latin America. And I think about, man, I mean, I'm even though mile-wise, I'm traveling like basically in another country, 1,500 miles. Some countries are very small. In the United States of America, we have 50 states, and we often look at countries like every country is big. But there's most countries on Earth, they're very small square footage wise, or whatever metric you use to measure their circumference of their land. Of course, there's the big superpowers, but most countries are very small, and most countries are the size of one state in America. So I'm basically traveling across the country, traveling to different lands, foreign lands, even though it's in the same country. It's, these are different states, these are foreign lands. And so when I do that, I always get empathy for people I know that have left their mainland. They've come from overseas or whatever, and they're starting a new life like my grandparents did, like Paul did. That's scary. And you never know if you're going to go back. I mean, I know if I really need to, I go right back to see my mom. And I know she's not in like this Savat. Savat's a truck driver. He's a member. I think he came from Eastern Europe. Solomon and Mama, they're people I met in Florida. They came from Eastern Europe. So I think about, especially people who come from like a war-torn or destitute country. I mean, that's not easy. So, travel gives you a lot of life perspective. Back to these live comments. Thank you again, Paula. Twister. Life blows my mind sometimes, especially being a loner. Yeah. Being a loner has a pro and a con. Me, I'd still prefer to be a loner. I want to share that with you. I love to connect with positive people, and once in a while, even in real life, you can. But every relationship has boundaries, even with your mother, and everyone needs their space. And so do I, and so do you. And so just remember that. When you're the only person steering and driving your own ship, I agree. It would be a totally different experience if I was traveling with someone else in my car. Totally different. I wouldn't stop when I want to stop. I wouldn't be doing this live feed. So, again, not to say my way is every way, but this is something you must consider and know your personality. He goes, making the right decisions, especially when everyone around you is on a different page. I've seen it time and time again. People get stressed out because they have the right intentions. They want to take their family to a trip, and thank God they do. They're trying to do the right thing. But it's a very stressful event because the kids want to do something, the parents want to do something, especially if you go with multiple adults. It's very tough to keep everyone going in the same direction. It's very tough. Paula, thank you again, Paula. Hey, Sam, love to you. Yeah, I'm scared, but I'm doing it. So I'm doing the best I can. I'll tell you that, Paula, and I appreciate your graciousness. Paula, hey, Adam, love to you. Paula, hey, Twister. Yeah, thank you for sharing positivity, Paula. Paula says, hey, early riser. Hey, Tony. Twister, hey, Paula. Love to you. Thank you, Tony. I hear you. I am too a loner, the captain of my own ship. But sometimes I wish I had a first mate to learn or talk with. Yeah, each their own. I mean, I've met many people like that. So I think most people prefer to be in a relationship. I think a smaller percentage prefer to be alone. But I also think most people are in an unhealthy relationship. So that's where, misery can love company. You got to be very careful. I will say that in my experience, if you're going through a divorce or a breakup, don't date again for at least a year or 2 years. If your dog dies, don't get another pet for at least a year or 2 years. I'm not putting a restriction on you. You do whatever you want. But I'm telling you that in my experience, you should at least heal. And you should at least take some time for yourself to reflect on these experiences in your life and to develop yourself. A lot of people are underdeveloped, not because they're evil, but because they don't allow themselves to go through the fire by themselves and have that faith that gives them the strength. See, if you don't go through the fire yourself, how are you going to call out on the Lord? How are you going to do your own research to get the wisdom for yourself? If everyone just always with you, you're going to become too dependent. Codependency. I always tell you guys and girls, what is a toxic relationship? It's two people. It's an abuser and an enabler. A toxic relationship has two components, an abuser and an enabler. So that tells me something. Both people are unwilling to spend a season of their life working on themselves. And that's why you really can't do much other than encourage and give some guidance for people that are in that cycle of abuse. Now, it's a cycle. And mainly the cycle is there because neither want to be alone. The abuser doesn't want to be alone and an enabler. It's scary. Guys, I'm scared right now. Now, I'm still doing it, but I empathize. This is what we're talking about tonight. Let's take a coffee break. We'll go back to the live comments. Thank you, everyone. Good to see you, Tony. Paula, Adam, I hope that your mom is okay and not in much pain. Yeah, thank you, Paula, for saying that about Adam's mother. Yes, Tony, love to you, brother. Sam, how's it going? Like I said, I was just sharing on how you doing, Tony. I love you, man. That's just, I just want to say I love you. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for staying with me. Thank you. Twisted. Yeah, I can relate, Tony, but it's still sometimes I feel like I want to take everything life throws at me alone. Nothing to ease the pains me, myself, and I feels it leads to your strongest and best self. It's true. Like I say, you're 22, so you're going to have to go through the range of experiences, but whether you're 22 or 72, you take life one day at a time, and you have the right to experience something. Like, I remember when I was 22, I always want my old people to remember when you were young. When I was 22, older people would say to me, oh, if you do this, this is going to happen. If you do that, that's going to happen. And you should listen. I did listen. I did my own research. But you also still get to experience life. So, you have to go through this yourself to figure it out yourself. Tony, when things are tough, you have to draw strength from your past victories. Yeah, great advice. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tony. Yeah, I appreciate it. That's what I've learned. And a lot of you out there who sell yourself short, you do have victories. You do. Thank you, Paula. That was very gracious of you. And I'll thank you for that cheerleading. Guys, I want to tell you, even superstars need cheerleaders. Why? Because I'll tell you, encouragement when you're scared is needed. Now, sometimes even me, I call myself, who really needs cheerleading? And most times you don't. A cheerleader or an encourager, most of the time, even though it's always cherry on the top, most of the time you don't need it. But you never know when you're going to need an encouraging word. And an encouraging word in a moment of fear or apprehension or nervousness, it's a blessing from the Lord. Okay. You think the cheerleader is just a ditzy person that doesn't really do much, but there may be somebody on that team that there's some type of inspiration. And I know we're not just talking sexual, I'm just trying to say in a parable way that never underestimate an encouraging word in the right season, because it'll change someone's life, or at least get them through the day. I always tell you, I remember being like in this circle of leadership, when I was in the church, and they were going around like, what do you want to do with your life? Or what do you want to be known for, I think. And I said, well, I would like to be known that I help get a person through the day. As far as like, what do you give back? Okay. Because that's what I've learned in life. Most people, certainly, you may get them a job. That's a blessing. Certainly, we all need help. But one of the greatest things is you helping someone at least get through the day in some capacity. Because life is getting through each day as best you can. And that's what I would tell you. Back to these live comments. Twister. Not to get confused with being completely secluded. Yep. Isolationist is not good too much. I understand, like Sam says, you need people no matter what. Yeah, no matter how you cut the pie, you need some level of interaction. Obviously, again, you got to know yourself. People who are introverts or loners a little bit, too much time with people will have the opposite effect of encouragement. It'll have frustration and anger. However, if you spend too much time alone, you'll have grandeur of delusion. You'll begin to think of your own voice louder and stronger than everyone's else, and you won't have any other perspectives. And I've seen a lot of people, especially in the nomad life, that they mean well, but they do have some type of disability, and usually mental. And because of that, because they don't function well in a relationship, they're kind of forced to be secluded because they've been burned so many times, or they can't figure out the algorithm of a relationship. And so they end up by themselves, but then they end up by themselves, and then they end up going down this very negative cycle of only hearing their own voice. And that can drive you crazy. Like I said, for me, I've been blessed. I mean, I understand that too. Like, I was born with a level of communication. Okay. I know some people can't communicate, but I don't figure it out either, because I know some people, they're nasty. So I don't know. Maybe they're nasty because they're frustrated, but I don't know. I've given them a lot of shots, so I don't like to try to figure out people anymore. I just have to figure out what's healthy for me. God's got to figure out all that crazy shit or whatever all this thing's about as far as being alive. And I've had to pull myself back psychologically throughout my life, because I got into periods of my life where I thought I had to make everything right in the world. And then I found that that works in a negative way, not in a positive, because you end up burnt out, bitter, and you help less people. What you need to do is take care of yourself well, because you got to be an example as best you can. And your gift will shine through self-care. And I know right now I'm scruffy, I'm in a car, I'm barking, but the message I'm talking about is not just a physical appearance or not. It's a demeanor. I always tell you, to me, the best scene in the movie, one of the best scenes in a movie I ever saw was the scene of Eddie Murphy in Coming to America when he was sweeping the floor. Because the level of dignity and royalty that his energy exuded had nothing to do with how he was dressed, was his job title. It was all about, you could tell this guy was royalty. And Eddie Murphy acted the shit out of that movie. But that, to me, is one of the most underestimated scenes. Okay. And now his girl saw that in him. His girl saw there was something special in him because she thought he was broke. Now, I know, but I just want to tell you that there'll be people in your life that see your gift. Even one of the Asian MILFs I dated, she always recognized my gift. Always. I'm not going to lie. Now, it didn't end up working out, but I knew that there was a mutual level of respect, because anyone who can recognize your gift and not abuse it, not try to manipulate it, that's someone that I'm not saying you're going to be with them. I'm not saying you're meant to be married with them. I'm just saying that when you separate from them, don't be mad at them. Just understand that for whatever reason, you have to go your separate ways. All right, let's take a coffee break, guys. And I know Cartoon Mark hates coffee breaks. I saw the video thing, but you know what I mean. Batches live comments. Tona, great job, Paula. Thank you, Paula, for spreading love tonight. Thank you. Adam. Sam, last night, my mom was coming in the house and she slipped and stepped back and fell. When you're a senior, falling is the most dangerous thing that you have. You got to really be serious. Older people don't want steps in their house. They want first floor houses, first floor ranch houses. And when I'm with my mom, I always tell her, nothing with steps. Don't go second floor. Don't do this. Don't do that. Now, sometimes she won't listen. So I just want to tell you, if you are above the age of 50 and you're buying a house, don't buy a house with steps. Okay. I want to tell, when I look at a house now, guys, I'm 41. I will never buy a house with steps again. Never. Okay. I lived on a second floor condo. I'll never do it again. Because, guys, I'm over the hump of life. So I don't want to be having to sell a house because it's on a second floor or it's got 2 stories. 20 years from now, I want 1 story, guys. Okay. Good job. Adam was saying that his mom slipped and fell, God bless her, and hit her head on the cement. My dad tried to catch her, but she still impacted her head pretty good. Yeah, I want to tell you that being a caretaker, my heart goes out so much to in-house caretakers, to professional caretakers, nurses, etc. Watching someone get old and go through physical problems, it's a tough thing. And I have love for you. Paula, heart emojis. Thank you very much, Paula. Tony, you're right, Sam. Most countries are small. America is like 3,000 miles. Is that about what it is? Coast to coast. That would make sense, probably. It's massive compared to a lot of countries. Yes. Now, obviously, again, you got the superpowers, China, Russia, etc. But most countries are very small. They're like the size of a state. Yep. Tony, damn, Adam. I'll pray for her. Yeah, his mom. I hope that she has a speedy recovery. Amen. Savat, what's up, brother? I love being alone. Total peace. Yeah, I mean, you get it. I mean, you're a truck driver, so you're pretty much a nomad. You know what it is. You spend a lot of time alone, and so do I, and I like it. But like there is a level. We're humans, and humans are mainly social and tribal. And no matter what country, no matter what time of human history, whether Native Americans, whether African Americans, whether Russian, whether Italian, whether Siberian, if you look at the human history of any country, you will see tribes and you will see groups, whether based on religion, whether based on ethnic background, because humans are social beings and they mainly run in packs. There are a few that run solo, but even the ones that run solo, there's a need for a level of social interaction to maintain a level of human stability. Everyone has a different balance. But this is an observation of humans, that if you study humans and the history of humans throughout all countries, throughout all religions, this is a basic thing where no matter what religion, again, whatever, there's tribes, there's divisions, there's groups, and it's just the way humans are. So I don't, it's one thing you have to be observant of. Paula, I'm like that too, Savat. Yep. Twisted, Sam, I was thinking the other day that despite the odds of winning the lottery, I won the best lottery that existed, the lottery of blessings. I'm so grateful so much in my life, praise God. Now, God bless you. Look, at 22, you tend to be more optimistic. As I get older, look, there's things in my life that I tend to get more pessimistic about. That's also a natural human part of life. The older you get, the grouchy old men, etc. Now, you got to try to not let the world steal your joy. And that's not easy as you get older because you go through more loss. You lose a loved one, you lose your parent, maybe you lose your child, God forbid. You lose money, you lose relationships. And this takes a toll on your soul. And that's why they say, oh, you're young and naive. But there's nothing wrong with that. You have a right to be young. And I would tell you that the hope and the faith, see, we all know that you're a very positive, amazing young person. And I think that you're going to figure it out no matter what. But, I want you to learn the word boundaries. I want you to learn the word self-care, because you will face some obstacles in life to keep your joy. You need these things. Now, you need to be flexible. You need to forgive. You need to, be honest. We're all human. We all fail. But you got to, remember these things. One Flying Solo. What's up, man? He's going through a divorce. He goes, I have been mostly a loner too. But made the mistake of getting married. I thought I could change and be normal, quote unquote, but this is who I am. Well, that's a great observation. For you to be able to recognize that about yourself, to me, that's a positive, not a negative. Because as long as you can carry that on to your future, then anytime you're tempted to be in a relationship, I'm not saying you should never be in a relationship. That's up to you to figure out after you heal. But that's something you have to remember. And maybe you'll meet a person that you vibe with on that same energy. I don't know. But remember that in your future. Okay. Paula, very true, Sam. You will know when the time is right to get, to a new pet or getting into a new relationship. Yeah. I mean, it's tough. There's no exact science to life. I often tell you, life is science and art. It's both. Science is collecting data, studying it, and forming a conclusion. That is the definition of science, basically. Art there is no definition. Art is a perspective based on what you see. I could put 3 artists in a room, and they will all paint the same object different. That's perspective. And that is the unique part about life in this world, that none of us can say we ever figure out life, because there's not an exact equation to it. Even though the more knowledge you have, the wiser you could be to mitigate risk. And that's why you have to respect science. But as much knowledge as you can obtain, as much scientific evidence that you can get, there's some things that are unexplainable. And you have to also respect art. And it is the balance of those two dimensions, science and art, that the truly wise will balance both. And that's not easy to do. A lot of people get caught in one or the other, Back to these live comments. Let's take a coffee break. Twister, I don't acknowledge my blessings as much as I should. Well, being grateful is, welcome, Denise. Thank you for joining the membership. I love you, Denise, and I appreciate that with gratitude, not entitlement. Thank you, Denise. I appreciate you joining. I would tell you, we talked about this the other night. Like, when I get depressed or when I go too negative, I try to focus on some things I'm thankful for to pull me back from the deep ocean of depression or sadness. Sad. I probably deal with sadness more than depression, even though they're like the same thing. And you have to visualize a lifeguard blowing a whistle at the beach of people who are swimming too deep in the ocean. And when you try to acknowledge what you're thankful for, what you do is you blow the whistle to the sad thoughts that are going too far, and you pull yourself back. As an example, you have to go, but you don't want to leave the house because you don't want to leave your dog, you don't want to leave your child, you don't want to leave your mother. You think it may be the last time I see them. And that's a possibility anytime you walk out the door. But if you lived your whole life that you're never going to leave the house because you're scared something's going to happen, you've lost your whole life. And that's where you got to pull yourself back in, man, one day at a time, man. No, don't go down that too deep. You're too deep. You're going too deep. And blow the whistle. A lot of people, even theology or whatever, they're going too deep. They'll pull and come back in. Okay. And that's what you got to do when gratitude does that. Basic gratitude. Thank you again, Denise. Thank you, Paul. Thank you to all the members tonight. Twister was saying he doesn't focus on gratitude as much as he should. And I had a reminder of this when my boss hired a new girl at Dunkin' Donuts. Her legs are, paralyzed, I believe that is. And she uses a wheelchair. God bless her. She split out and collapsed the other day. That's humbling. I'll tell you right now, that's a good testimony. I remember in New Jersey, there used to be this Kmart when Kmart was still in business. And there was this Indian girl that half her face, I don't know, man. She either has some type of skin disease or, I don't know, or some type of burn maybe. Half her face was totally distorted. And she was working as a cashier. And I said to myself, like, if anyone should be on disability, like, you couldn't, that's a no-brainer, right? And she was working in one of the most public, physical scene jobs in the world. She probably had to survive. I don't know. But I remember every time I would start to, like, bitch and moan about my own problems, I would go in that Kmart, and when I would see that cashier, I said, Sam, shut the fuck up. Because here she is. You know that she knows half her face is totally distorted. And she shows up and she does what she need to do. And she didn't have an attitude or nothing. It's like, I said, damn, man. It's like that shit humbles you. So, yeah, I never forget that girl, that lady, man. Yeah, good testimony. Paula, at Twister, amen. Twister, I remember just the ability to walk is a blessing. Yeah, I tell you, man, sometimes one is when I spend time with my mom, she can't walk that much. And, that's not easy. And so I definitely, I think about, man, if I couldn't walk, how would I handle my thoughts? Because I handle a lot of my life through walking, self-care. And I'll tell you, that's not easy. But I'll tell you, if you got any ability, walk, even if it's with a cane. See, when my mom sits too long, she gets more depressed and things go worse. Sometimes when I'm with my mom, I just help her up. I said, Mom, we're just going to walk around this house or whatever, just a little bit, get that blood flowing. If you're really hurting, you got bad near, just stand up a little bit every half hour, let that blood flow. You may not be able to walk a marathon, but you can get up and just walk to the bathroom, walk back. And I know it's not easy mentally, but as much as you can, you got to push. Okay. Tony, Sam, did you hear about DC and Baltimore? No, there was a flood warning I saw recently. Okay. Tony's from Baltimore area. It got bad here for a few days. Thank you for sharing. I was just glad it didn't flood where I was. My drummer's car is totaled. Well, Tony, I'm glad that you're hanging in there. Love to you. I'm glad that, I'm not glad that your drummer's car got totaled, but thank you for the heads up, and I'm glad that you guys are all right, and hopefully he's got insurance on that. Love to you, Tony. Paula, blessings to you all. Love to you back. Thank you, Tony. Blessings to you, Paula. Amen. Paula, that's so awful, Tony. My prayers that your friend was safe. Yep. Amen. Tony. Paula, he's fine. He's staying with me right now. Well, that's nice. Until the insurance kicks in. Thank God for flood insurance. Well, Tony, thank God for your willingness to help. I give you credit. God bless you. Paula, so happy to hear that Tony and what a good friend you are to him. Yeah, I mean, I think about that there are some people out there, like I said, but you're not going to have empathy until you're scared. It's true. And this is why that in life, if you're never scared, would you ever have empathy? Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. Aaron, great to see you tonight. Yes, sunflower emoji to you soon. Yes, I appreciate that, Aaron. Love to you, and thank you for everything that you share on the channel. Pat, what's up, Pat? Hey, I see you around. Thank you for sharing on Cartoon Mark's channel too, Pat. Hey, Sam, were you napping when Cartoon Mark was live? No, but I saw that you left a comment and you were just playing. I left a comment on his replay that I forget about no coffee breaks, no naps. That's what I thought. No nap breaks. Yeah, I saw that. Just kidding. Yeah, I saw you doing it. Love to you, Pat. Paula, that's so true, Sam. My house has too many stairs. Yeah, that's why I'm looking for a piece of land with a tiny house. Yeah, I mean, look, I definitely love tiny living. The only problem with tiny houses, and I believe they classify a tiny house as 300 square foot or less, maybe 400 square foot or less, I'm not sure. But the problem with them is to get a tiny house allowed in a jurisdiction, usually it's in the middle of nowhere. Most municipalities, you got to build at least 1,000 square feet, or it's got to be an existing structure. Now, some places in Florida, they have existing mobile homes. They'll allow it, but they really don't make new mobile homes that small anymore. Paula, it's Aaron. Hey, Aaron and Pat. Yeah, Hart. Yeah. Paula, there's a big shortage of truck drivers. Definitely. No doubt about it. If you have a driver's license, I mean, I don't have that gift. I don't even like driving too big of vehicles. I like a small compact car. But for some people, like I watched one truck driver on YouTube. This guy was from the Bronx, and like truck driving, changed his life for the better. And you could tell he's got a passion for driving trucks, man. Like, backing them in and all. Like for me, this is not my gift. Like I say, some people got the gift of communication, technology. Some people are good with their hands. Some people are good behind the wheel. You got to know your gifts. You got to try different things when you're young. But yeah, it's a great gift, guys. Without truck drivers, the goods would never get delivered, and that's what we're seeing somewhat. Yeah. Tony, Paula, you are talking about the UK, right? Paul, I believe Paul is in California now. No, it's in the US, Tony. Yeah, Paul is originally from, I believe, Scotland, but now she's in California. Love to you, Denise. We're gonna get there. Thank you. I'm sorry, Tony. Paul, a lot of people don't want to do that job. Too many days away. Yeah. Little deadlines, no home life. That job is for a loner a lot, or an empty nester. But I know some people that have been a truck driver that raised a family. It depends. But there's no doubt about it. The truck driver I watch on YouTube, he did a video about that. When you're a truck driver, you're going to spend a considerable amount of time away from your family. Now, the only thing I've seen with that, I've never been a truck, is that you also have a certain amount of time off. So it's kind of like feast or famine, but, again, everyone, has that different skill set. Yeah. Tony, plus it's not perishable if you can go by rail. Pat, 10 deer emoji for Cartoon Mark's live. Yeah, he's doing good. I'm very proud of him. He's over 600 subs. That's awesome. Denise, welcome again. Thank you. I can't wait to get to your chats. Thank you for being patient, Denise. Pat, go. 10 Winn-Dixies for Cartoon Mark. Yeah, he's doing good. Pat, I want to see Cartoon Mark draw a Winn-Dixie. He'll probably do it. Paula, welcome, Denise. Amen. Heart emoji. Ryan, what's up, brother? Congrats on going back to Florida. Yep, it's a gift and a curse. It's a gift overall, but it's scary because, you leave the familiar setting and, you leave your loved one behind. It messes with you a little bit, but this is what it is. I've done it before, so I know what it is. Thank you, Ryan. Cartoon Mark. Hey, friends, what's up, brother? Still light in Sam's background. Well, now you see it's darkness. That's how quick life changes. Dark here in New York. Yeah. Everyone in the live feed, remember, next Sunday, our clocks go back if you live in the United States of America. Remember, fall back, spring forward. So in fall, and I believe this year it's November 7th, in fall, we put our clocks back, daylight savings. Now, there may be some states that are exempt from that. I'm not sure. I know Florida was trying to get exempt, but they didn't yet. So we're going to be turning our clocks in most states in the United States of America back an hour. And in the spring, we turn it forward. So it's going to be darker early. That's basically what I'm telling you. And even in Florida, it gets darker early, even though it stays a little bit lighter than up north. Why does it stay lighter a little bit more in Florida? Because we're closer to the equator. Remember, the Earth is just a big ball orbiting around the sun. When you start to think too like wild, remember, guys, we're just a big ball, and the equator is like in the middle of the ball, and that ball is just on a constant axle rotation, and it's going while it's rotating, it's going also orbiting around the sun. And so, guys, this is the science part of life. Not an exact science, but there's a science to it. Where are we at? Tony, Paul, Pat, I ain't seen a Winn-Dixie since I was a kid. Tony, Sam, I hate to say it, that Indian girl was probably the victim of acid attack. It's possible. I got no idea. I have a friend in the UK who was a victim. That's very sad if that's the case. I'll tell you, it just hurt my heart when I see it. It's tough. Thank you for sharing. Denise, our first comment, thank you for being patient and welcome. She goes, sending positive vibes. Thank you very much to everyone on this beautiful evening. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, Sam, for your wisdom and encouragement. I have been watching for a while. Thank you. Your inspirational messages and humor are helping me. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you, Denise. Welcome. Love to you. Always feel free to come and go as you want. And just gratitude in my heart. I'm taking all the positive vibes I can, and I hope I give reciprocal back in my own way throughout the course of me having this channel. So thank you again, Denise, and everyone in the live chat tonight. Peyton Olin, remember that the song Never Scared by Bone Crusher. Yeah, I remember that song, but I mean, that's a song that's a mindset for a moment. But if you're human, there's moments of fear. Now, certainly there's some psychopaths. Now, the question is, do they feel fear? Because a psychopath tends not to have a lot of empathy. Now, whether they've just been abused or hurt when they were very young, so they turned off that mechanism as self-defense and they've become this raging animal, or they were always born like that. That's a debate since the beginning of time. A lot of people I know, they were like that as far as I can remember, but I wasn't with them every moment of their life. No one walks in someone's shoes 100% of the time, so you never know what happened to them. But when you go too far down in that ocean, remember, it's not your job to figure out everyone. It's your job to have empathy, but you also have to have boundaries and figure out what's healthiest for you, because obviously you can't befriend every psychopath, or you're going to be, you're going to be sitting at the table of serial killers. Now, again, it's not about judging, but there's only so much you can do. You got to be very careful your inner circle, Tony, Peyton Nolan. Why you do that now? It's in my head. Oh yeah, so a Bone Crush song, never scared. Yeah, back in the day, that was I don't know what that was, early 2000s. Peyton Nolan. My house is less than 400 square feet. I love that. That's crazy. That's a great amount of square footage, especially if you're single, even two people. Denise. Today, while walking and picking up litter at my favorite park, I met a veteran with PTSD, which stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. He was very kind and encouraging, and I suggested he check out Inspirational Nomad. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Denise, thank you, Paula. I'm happy to finally join and show appreciation to Sam. Thank you for showing up and making these videos. Thank you very much, Denise, Paula, and everyone. Thank you. Tony, unless you're in Arizona, okay, Arizona's the only one that doesn't set the clocks back. Then everyone else is changing. Your next Sunday, November 7th, 2021, I believe, is when you set your clock back an hour. 2 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, usually. Ryan, do you think daylight saving needs to go? Yeah, I would like to see it go. I mean, I think that the reason they had it, from my understanding and research, is before humans had electricity as a normal infrastructure component in the developed country, daylight savings was to save their sources of light and their resources, whether it's candles or oil canteens or whatever. And so it was just practical at that time in human history. But that's why I always tell you, you have to be careful when you read the Bible or you look at human history. Humans have evolved. So what applied then may not apply now. So the problem is, now you have to, if some people go with daylight savings and some don't, the transition to get everyone back in sync would be a little bit of a pain point, especially when it comes to stock trading hours, business hours, borders. Is every state in a certain area going to change, or are you going to go from Maryland to Delaware and they're on different time zones? That would mess a lot of business up. So those are the components that you would really need to be very careful on having a uniform standard approach in the same country, because now more than ever in humanity, that one is electricity is a standard resource in just about any modern country. And the other component is now with the internet and technology, we're a global human civilization. So, I realized this when I got in the corporate world and I was on conference calls with people from different time zones, people in California, people in Asia. When I was working construction, I never thought of a time zone. I thought it's time for coffee break. Then you get into the corporate world, you're on a conference call. Now conference calls are done. You're on a Zoom meeting or team meeting. Now I can't even remember last time I was on a conference call. You're on digital meeting. So, but you plan a meeting with someone in Singapore. You can't think about when you're up. You got to think about when they're up, and syncing the two. That's communication. And so, that's something that you got to remember when you start to mess with time zone settings. Where are we at? I hope I get to these in order. Savat said, Savat was saying the sun's still up here in Jacksonville. Okay, shout out to Jacksonville, Florida. I'll be there soon. Well, I'll be there in a couple days. Tony, Ryan, no farmers needed. Tony, I hate losing an hour, but it serves a purpose. Yeah, we just built on that. Paid it on. I was in middle school when that song came out. Oh, okay. Never Scared. They played it at first school dance I ever went to. Okay. I think Nas did a remix to it. I remember that. I remember seeing that when I had my condo. I think it was, I think I saw the video of that. Paula, hey there, Nolan. Talking to Peyton Nolan. What's up, Paula? Inland Empire in the building. What's that? What's Inland Empire? Paula, has everyone remembered to smash that thumbs up? Thank you, Paula. I appreciate the encouragement tonight. Thank you. Appreciate that. Tony, laughing Sam, ain't nobody from Maryland going to Delaware yet. The only reason I know people go is to buy school stuff because no state tax. No tax. Well, hey guys, look, when I was in New Jersey, I knew people in Maryland, so I go back and forth sometimes on the same day. So I got to go through Delaware to get to Maryland. So, that can mess your whole plans up, depending on how that go. Twisted. Sam, if I'm being honest with you, being a truck driver is one of my old dreams. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I remember the movie with Sylvester Stallone, Over the Top, when he was doing like arm wrestling. He was a truck driver. But once I started college, I put all my focus in engineering. Well, that's a good skill set. I mainly majored in that for the money. Well, I mainly got into construction for the money, electrical work. I didn't really like it. So I think when you're young, it is good to get a skill set to have a base level of good money opportunity. Then I think you try some things and you try to leverage your experience as that you get in an area such as engineering, and then you can go into some type of truck drive. Believe me, truck driving companies need engineers too. Certainly, engineering, logistics, mechanical components, these are all similar things. Remember, you're solving a problem. An engineer is trying to put components together in a way that they work and in a way that they're efficient and effective. A truck driver needs to understand his logistical route and engineer it so that he is efficient and effective in delivering the goods. The basic components of most jobs are analyzing the task at hand and forming a path to an efficient and effective way to make the task work. And that's pretty much life. So you can use a lot of skill sets across things. But when you're young, get some experience, stay at the same place, then go to a different place, then leverage your credentials, and then, do things a little bit when you're scared as far as taking a new job with a new company. You'll figure it out. But that was one of the first times I was scared, going to a new job and leaving my comfortable job. I was at that prior job for years, not months. So that's good. That's what you need to do. But then there comes a time where you got to go to a new job, and that's scary. Hopefully I get to these back in order. Twisted, do you think it would be backwards if I tried it for a few years? In my opinion, I think you should try engineering for a few years. And then if you wanted to go to something else, try that. But no matter what you do, you're going to be scared. And so I would say if you've already went through the pain of engineering, uh, whether you graduate, even if you didn't graduate, I would still tell you, get a job with CB Richard Ellis, get a job with some type of company that, Cushman Wakefield, companies that work in commercial building management that either need engineers or need project managers, and get some experience. And then if you really don't like that world after 2-3 years working in it, then go to something else, but at least you have that on your resume. Because once you go to being a truck driver, you got to go through a whole new set of skill set training. And then once you begin to make $50,000, $75,000 a year, you ain't going back to engineering. And so when you're young, go for the money. And then as you get older, if you live below your means, you got a lot more options. Okay. But if you start at the middle, and what's going to happen is you're going to probably acquire and you're going to become comfortable. Starting a whole new skill set later on in life is a lot harder. So you might as well start at a level that really is what you've just put work in to do, or at least really know if you don't like it. That would be my opinion. What should you do? Whatever you want. That's my opinion based off my experience. Back to these live comments. Hopefully, let's see here. Tony, Nas and T.I. Yeah, we're on the remix. Okay, that sounds familiar. That makes sense. Thank you, Tony. Tony knows his music. Paid it on. Inland Empire is right next to LA. Okay, I didn't know that. It's pretty much a little more inland than Orange County. Okay, I've heard of Orange County. I remember that show, the Chopper Show, Orange County. Yeah, they had the Chopper Show, right? I know they had one in upstate New York. Cartoon Mark probably knows about that. And then I think they had a shoot-off in Orange County, right? Tony, I remember Over the Top. Yeah, I think it's on YouTube. Okay, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, that was an old Sylvester Stallone movie. That was a good movie. Paula, at Twister, never give up. Have fun and give it a try. Yeah. When you're young, throw stuff against the wall, but be a little consistent and then gradually make changes. One Flying Solo. I live in Delaware, but we all have going on is no... I'm sorry. He goes, Flying One Solo says, I live in Delaware, but all we have going on is no taxes and beaches in the summer. Yeah, I've been through Delaware. It's a very small state, one of the small states in America. It does have some nice beach land. If you take there's a ferry that runs from New Jersey to Delaware. And then if you take that one strip of highway, I did videos from it, and you can go right through Ocean City, Maryland, and right over to Virginia Beach, etc. There's some Thousand Trails campgrounds I stayed at over there. That's a nice scene. But for me, I'm a Caribbean guy. I'm South Florida for the win, but I enjoyed taking that scenic route at times. Tony, One Flying Solo, and your beaches aren't even good. Ocean City water is much better, in my opinion. Paula, I told Dave, aka Dave the Uber slave, no limit van to subscribe to you. Well, I appreciate the love. Thank you. Pay Nolan. I've been thinking about becoming a forklift mechanic, but with all these robots, I don't know how forklifting will still be relevant. Now, look, in 20, 30 years, probably not, but for the next 10 years, robots at a mass scale are not going to take away a mass number of jobs such as truck drivers, forklifts, anything with a CDL, etc. Now, again, in 20, 30 years, that may be different, but in 20, 30 years is pretty much the bulk of a working career. So I think this generation will still do most tasks with regards to a high level of manual labor by themselves. But I do see the next generation coming. There will be self-driving cars. There will be more robotics, etc. But there's still a transition period. Even if you go from gasoline to electric vehicles, that's about a 30 to 50 year transition. And that Elon Musk has said that it takes 25 years. Even if you stop selling gasoline cars today, it would take 25 years for all the gasoline cars that are already built to totally get to life expectancy. So that transition is a generational thing, Back to these live comments. Tony, Paid and all, forklifts will still be viable job for years to come. I agree. Certain things humans can do that robot can't. For now, I agree. In the future, I do think robots, but for now, I would definitely agree. Tony. Sam, Orange County Choppers was in New York. Oh, was it? Okay. Was that Orange County, upstate New York? Okay. They're actually moving in somewhere in Florida. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Thank you for the correction. Paid it all. Cool. I'm going to look into that endeavor. Twisted. Thank you, Sam. I'll definitely give it all some deep considerations. I love the idea of truck driving because not only do I think I would enjoy it, but I'd build up money bad quick at the same time. Yeah, love to you. Just remember when you're young, with no pets, no kids, it doesn't take a lot of money to build up money. And once you get used to money, it's very hard to take less money. When I left the electrical union, I took less money to get into the office world, the corporate world, because I wanted off a high level of manual labor and the inconsistency of some of the work. And I didn't like the work. So, but yeah, you got your own path to lead. So you've heard the input. You do what's best for you. One flying solo at Tony. Yes, I agree. I think Ocean City has more going on. Delaware beaches are all small and relatively quiet. Yeah. I mean, quiet small beaches have their thing too. And they're very close. Ocean City, Maryland, and Delaware. So you can get the best of both worlds in one sense. Tony. Yeah, Canada going to stop selling gas cars in the next few years. It's going to happen. I read that in an article about it. Yeah, I mean, I've heard the general consensus is most developed countries want a goal of net zero emissions by 2050. So that's about 30 to 40 years. So in 40 years, which is a generation, that's a whole working generation. In 40 years, in 2050, that's going to be a real reality. And we're seeing it start now. I mean, next year you got the Ford Maverick, which is going to be the first pickup truck that's going to be electric hybrid. So we're seeing it. It's going to happen, but it's going to take a generation. It's good. Right now I'm 41. So when if I live to 80, it's going to be very evident there, but I'm going to be 80. I'm going to be at the end of my life. For someone who's 20, they may see it at the very end of their work career. So really, it's the only people it's going to affect the majority of their work career is someone who's just been born or is under 10. Everyone over the age of 15, they're going to still have to go through most of their lifetime with just incremental technology build-ups, and then there'll be a gradual just cut over as we go. Twisted. I understand, though, a solid foundation on what I have already built is important. It's just tempting to think about a salary significantly higher than Dunkin' Donuts life. Well, like I say, in my opinion, I would transition from Dunkin' Donuts to Starbucks, get you familiar with being scared of going to a new company within the same industry and learning new skill sets, because there's a different way they do the same industry. And you need to understand how two companies operate differently in the same industry. If you don't understand that, then you will never get the understanding of economics, because you need to understand different industries, and you also need to understand that there's different companies that operate differently within the same industry. And understanding that difference and actually having experience in it will help you. It'll give you a lot more options. And when you're young, you need to build off that base, so when you're older, you can make these decisions. When you're young, you don't want to put yourself in a corner that when you're old, the older you get, the less you want to change. And so you can always downshift, but upshifting can be a little bit harder, Charles, wait, did I read it? Tony, flying solo. But Tony said the flying solo, you have great fishing in Delaware and the beaches aren't crowded. Yep. Charles, hey, Sammy. Hey, brother, I checked in on your live feed. I clicked the thumbs up. I didn't hear audio. I think you had it turned off. I think you told me that. But I checked out your drawing of Jack Nicholson. Thumbs up to you. Trista, thank you, Paul. Paid it on. No more gas cars being sold by 2030, I think. Probably in most areas, that's probably going to be true. You're going to either have hybrid, which is gas and an extra battery, or you're going to have hybrid and electric. That's definitely will be, I know by 2025, every manufacturer will at least have one model of car that's a hybrid electric. So by 2030, that'd probably be very close to that next transition. So remember, if you don't think that can happen, remember where we were at 2010. And remember where we're in 2021. 10, 11 years changes a lot in society. Never forget it. Uh, Tony, God, in 2050, the world's going to be different. Hopefully, the machines haven't taken over yet. Yeah, I don't know. In one sense, I think it'd be a good thing, but certainly everything's going to have a pro and a con. Like I said, all you can do, though, is I think overall human civilization, net average, has improved the quality of life for most people. Uh, but life is always going to make you scared, man, whether you're dealing with a robot or you're dealing with yourself. Tony, payday in Canada, the U.S. will never stop selling gas cars. It's an American way. Well, I think they will eventually, just like they stopped having horses as the cowboy American way. So eventually, America and humanity adapts. You have no choice as part of human civilization, but some do fight it. Aaron, gotta run. Me too. Crisis calls. God bless you. Have a great night. You too, Aaron. I love you. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Denise. Thank you, all my members tonight. Thank you for watching. I hope my video helped you. I got to get back on this road. Thank you, One Flying Solo. Thank you, everyone.